If your iPod Shuffle will not take Apple Music, check the source first. That is the safe way to think about Apple Music on iPod Shuffle. The Shuffle can still work as a tiny local file player, but it is not an Apple Music streaming device. It has no Apple Music app, no streaming interface, and no modern subscription authorization screen. So the question is not simply, how do I put Apple Music on it? The question is, what kind of audio file are you trying to sync? Use the article's source first rule. Compatible local files, previous iTunes Store purchases, CD imports, and your own recordings can usually move through a desktop library and sync to the device after format and space checks. Apple Music subscription downloads are different. They are for authorized offline listening inside Apple Music on supported devices. They are not a promise that you own transferable files for an iPod Shuffle. Before you connect the device, separate 6 source lanes: a local MP3, AAC, M4A, WAV, or AIFF file you own belongs in the normal library sync lane. A previous iTunes Store purchase belongs in the purchase and account lane. A CD rip or imported library file belongs in the local library lane, with a backup before any sync change. An Apple Music subscription download belongs in the authorized listening lane, not the shuffle file lane. Apple Music converter research belongs in a separate product decision. Your own demos, rehearsal clips, lesson audio, or MIDI renders belong in the owned audio lane. That split prevents most bad advice. If a track is already a compatible local file, add it to Music or iTunes. Make sure it plays on the computer, connect the Shuffle by USB, choose the songs or playlists, apply the sync, and eject before unplugging. On a modern Mac, Finder may handle the device sync while Music manages the library. On Windows or older macOS workflows, iTunes is the familiar control surface. The official layer still matters. Apple's iTunes Guide for Managing iPod Shuffle on PC documents the device screen, sync controls, sound check, volume limits, and space management. Apple's Sync Library Guidance also says Apple Music is not a backup service, so keep your own copy before changing a library. Convert only when the file actually needs conversion. If the Shuffle can already play the file, do not run it through a converter just because a guide says to. If you do need another format, use a copy, not the master. MP3 and AAC are practical listening copy formats for a small Shuffle. WAV, AIFF, FLUT, ALAC, or the original DAW project should remain protected when quality or editing matters. Sync one test track before converting a whole library. This is where the words matter. Converting a local file is not the same thing as making Apple Music streams into permanent files. Some older protected purchases may not convert. Apple's own conversion guidance limits reproduction to material you own, control, or are legally allowed to copy. If the source is a subscription catalog track, solve the source question before the format question. If your research intent is Apple Music converter software, treat that as a separate lane. The article names TuneFab Apple Music Converter as the relevant partner product for that converter research path, and it labels the recommendation as affiliate. Keep that separate from Melogen. TuneFab is the converter research category. Melogen is for files you created, bought DRM-free, recorded, or otherwise have permission to edit. Melogen fits before the sync step only when the audio is yours to process. Use Music Trimmer for a rehearsal recording, lesson clip, DAW bounce, original demo, MIDI render, or purchased DRM-free file that needs cleanup. You might remove silence before the first note, cut a long ending, make a shorter workout or practice clip, add a cleaner fade, or prepare a compact listening copy while keeping the master elsewhere. For larger library work, keep 3 layers separate. The master source is the DAW project, WAV, AIFF, FLAC, CD rip, purchased file, or original recording that you protect. The listening copy is the MP3 or AAC prepared for the iPod Shuffle. The device sync is only the selected songs on the Shuffle, and it can be rebuilt from the library. When sync fails, troubleshoot the source, format, or device space before assuming you need a converter. If a song is an Apple Music but does not sync, it may be a subscription catalog item rather than a transferable local file. If the Shuffle does not appear, test the cable, USB adapter, device state, and iTunes or Finder. If the file plays on the computer but not on the shuffle, create a compatible copy from a file you may reproduce. If only some songs fit, sync fewer playlists or make smaller listening copies. If a file disappears after moving folders, restore the original path or re-import from the new location. If the file is protected, use authorized playback or check the rights before copying. There is also a space management detail worth remembering. Apple's iTunes page notes an option that can convert higher bitrate songs to 128 kilobit AAC for the device. That can help fit more compatible songs onto a small shuffle, but it is still a sync library feature. It is not a streaming catalog unlock. So the practical workflow is simple. Confirm the source, keep the master, add or download the file into Music or iTunes. Test one compatible track, sync a small playlist. Then expand only after the device, format, and account path are clear. The takeaway is not that every Apple Music search needs a converter. It is that iPod Shuffle works with compatible local audio. Streaming access, converter research, and owned audio cleanup are 3 different jobs. Keep them separate, and the device becomes much less confusing. This is the official Melogen AI channel. Subscribe for practical music file workflows, safe library decisions, and better ways to use AI in music work. Melogen AI offers music tools and AI music models for musicians, educators, and creators. Visit melogenai.com to try Melogen with audio you own or have permission to edit.